Part 1. 3 in the morning. There was an hour on the ship that belonged to no one. Not the late evening, which belonged to Sanji cleaning his kitchen and Nami reviewing charts and Zoro doing something violent with weights in the corner. Not the early morning, which belonged to Chopper checking supplies and Usopp pretending to practice and Luffy eating whatever hadn't been locked away. The hour that belonged to no one was 3 in the morning, when the watch had changed and the new watchman had settled and the ship moved through darkness so complete it felt like the world had simplified itself down to just water and stars and the sound of the hull. Robin had known this hour for most of her life. It was when she'd done her best reading as a child, her best thinking as a fugitive, her best surviving always. The hour when the world asked less of you and you could be, briefly, only what you actually were. She came up to the deck with a book she wouldn't read and tea she would, and found Brook already there. He was sitting at the stern, facing the wake, his violin across his knees but unplayed. Just held. The way people held things they weren't ready to use yet. "Robin-san," he said, without turning. He had no eyes, had explained this cheerfully and at length on multiple occasions, but he always knew. She had stopped finding it unsettling. "Brook," she said. She sat nearby. Not beside him, not far, the natural distance of two people who understood that proximity was a choice and silence was a language. The ship moved. The stars did what stars did. The wake spread out behind them like a long white sentence with no ending. "Couldn't sleep?" she asked, after a while. "I don't sleep," he said. "Not the way you do. I go somewhere, sometimes. When I choose. But the nights are all the same length for me." He ran one long finger along the neck of the violin. "I have a great deal of night." "So do I," she said. He turned then, and looked at her, or aimed the hollow places where his eyes had been in her direction, which she had learned to read as looking. There was something in it, some quality of attention, that was entirely present. "Yes," he said quietly. "I imagine you do." Part 2. What 50 years teaches, she asked him once, not that night, but the night after, when they had established without discussing it that this was a thing they did now, meeting at 3 in the morning at the stern of the ship. She asked him what 50 years alone had taught him. He was quiet for long enough that she thought he might not answer. The violin made a soft sound against his coat as the ship moved. "That time," he said finally, "is not the same thing as duration." She waited. "I floated for 50 years, he said. "That is a duration. But time is something that happens between people. Something that requires another person to mark itself against." He paused. "Without the crew, I had duration. I counted days. I watched the sea change color with the seasons. I experienced the passage of events." He set the violin down carefully beside him. "But I did not have time. Not really." She thought about this. Thought about 20 years of running, of ports and assumed names and the particular texture of days that all felt the same because they were all organized around the same principle. Survive until tomorrow. "I understand that," she said. "I thought you might." "The days were very long," she said. "And also, not very many. At the end of them, they didn't accumulate into anything." "No," he said. "They don't. Not alone." She looked at the wake. The stars were very bright tonight, no clouds, no moon, just the full weight of the sky doing its ancient work. "When did it change?" she asked. "When did you start having time again?" He made a sound that she had come to understand was his version of a smile, a soft exhalation, something warm. "The moment that ridiculous boy fell onto my ship and started talking about adventure." A pause. "I had forgotten adventure was possible. I had been surviving, as you said." And he walked in and was entirely unconcerned with survival and entirely consumed with going, and I found that he stopped. That I wanted to go too. She was quiet. Luffy, she said. Luffy, he agreed. He is, in some ways, the opposite of everything that happens to people over time. He simply doesn't accumulate. A beat. It's rather wonderful. Part 3. The violin he played for her, the third night. She hadn't asked. He simply took up the violin at some point in the small hours, when the silence had been long and full and seemed to be asking for something, and began to play something slow and old, something that sounded like it had been written for a different century, a different sea. She listened. She was not someone who was moved by music easily. She had spent too many years in survival mode for art to penetrate cleanly. There was always a layer of assessment between her and experience, a habit of watching rather than feeling. She noticed beautiful things. She catalogued them. She appreciated them intellectually. But this moved her. Not the technique, though the technique was extraordinary. 50 years of practice with nothing but time had done things to his playing that no living musician could match. It was something else. Something in the quality of attention he brought to it. Like every note was a decision. Like he was choosing, again, with every phrase, to make sound rather than silence. When he finished, she was quiet for a long moment. Who was it for? She asked. She didn't explain the question. She didn't need to. Her name was Laboon, he said. A whale. The most ridiculous, most faithful creature in the world. He set the bow across his knees. I promised to come back and tell him our story. When we parted. He was quiet. He waited 50 years. He didn't know, couldn't know, that we were all gone. He just kept waiting. She felt something move in her chest. Old and specific. He believed you'd come back, she said. He believed, Brook said simply. Without evidence. Without reason. Just believed. She thought of O'Hara. Of the scholars who had kept working until the last moment, knowing the end was coming, unwilling to stop because stopping would have been a betrayal of what they were. She thought of a little girl hiding in a tree, watching, surviving, carrying everything forward because someone had to. I had a crew once, she said. It came out without architecture. Just said. He waited. The spade, she stopped. Started again. Not spade. My crew. Before. They were taken from me. She didn't say killed. She had found, over years, that the clinical words were the ones that allowed her to say things at all. All at once. In a single night. I survived because I wasn't there. She paused. I have thought, many times, about whether that was fortunate. Robin-san, he said. Very softly. I carried them, she said. For 20 years. I kept reading, kept learning, because they would have wanted, because the work mattered and someone had to do it and I was the one left. She looked at the wake. But I also kept living because I didn't know what else to do. Yes, he said. Just that. Did it? She searched for the question. Did it get easier? The carrying? He considered it with the seriousness it deserved. It got different, he said. The weight changed shape. In the beginning it was sharp, the specific shapes of specific people, all their edges. Every detail present. He was quiet. Over time the edges, softened is the wrong word. Deepened, perhaps. The details became something more like essence. I still carry them. I will always carry them. But it became less like grief and more like love that had nowhere to go. Looking for somewhere to land. She was very still. And did it? She asked. Find somewhere to land? Yes, he said, simply. It did. Part 4. The thing about bones. Can I ask you something strange? She said. Robin-san, I am a skeleton who plays violin alone at 3 in the morning. I am fully prepared for strange questions. She almost smiled. Does it bother you? The way you are now? He seemed to genuinely consider it. Which aspect? Any of it. All of it. The visibility of it. Most people carry what happened to them on the inside. You carry it on the outside. He looked down at his hands. Long, ivory fingers. The violin bow between them, horsehair and old wood, worn smooth with decades of use. In the beginning, he said, it was very difficult. Not the practicalities, I adapted to those. The being seen. He paused. Every person who looked at me saw immediately that something had happened. That I was not ordinary. Not intact, in the usual sense. He turned his hands over. There is nowhere to hide when you look like this. No, she said. But I have found, he said slowly, that there is also a kind of freedom in it. I cannot pretend. I cannot present a version of myself that suggests I have not been through something. He set the bow down. Everyone who stays near me knows, from the first moment, that I am what I am. The result of everything that has happened. And they stay anyway. She thought about her arms. About the way she sometimes caught people looking at them when the flowers appeared, the slight flinch, quickly suppressed. The visible reminder that she was not like them. I spent years, she said, making myself invisible. Making myself palatable. Easy to overlook. Because being noticed was dangerous. She looked at her own hands. I'm still learning to be present. In a way that isn't tactical. It takes time, he said. How much time? Robin-san. And there was something in his voice, gentle, certain, a little amused. You are sitting with me at 3 in the morning talking about things that actually matter. He tilted his head slightly. You're further along than you think. They were quiet together for a while. She had refilled her tea twice. He had played 2 more pieces, small ones, more like sketches than songs. The stars had moved through their slow arc. Brook, she said. Yes. The things you said. About love that had nowhere to go, finding somewhere to land. She paused. Did you mean the crew? I meant many things, he said. The crew, yes. Music. The sea. A pause. This conversation. She looked at him. He was looking back at her, the hollow eyes, the permanent grin of a skull that couldn't change expression but somehow, she had learned, communicated everything anyway. She had learned to read him the way she read old languages. Not literally, but in the spaces between. What she read now was something she didn't have immediate words for. Not romantic, or not only. Something older and more patient. Something that had waited a long time and was in no hurry and found value in the present moment precisely because it knew how quickly present moments became the past. You are, he said carefully, the first person in a very long time who has spoken to me as though I were entirely present. Not as a curiosity. Not as something to be managed or navigated around. He paused. You speak to me as though I am simply, here. You are here, she said. Yes, he said. But not everyone can see it. She reached out, and rested her hand briefly on his, on the ivory bones of his hand, cool and old and somehow entirely alive, and left it there for a moment. He went very still. Not the stillness of discomfort. The stillness of someone receiving something carefully, with both hands, afraid to drop it. I see you, she said. Quietly. Not performing it. Just saying what was true. He made the soft sound that was his smile. And then, after a moment, he turned his hand over under hers, slowly, carefully, and held it. Yo-ho-ho, he said, very softly. Almost to himself. Like an old habit. Like something that meant I am still here and I remember and thank you all at once. She didn't let go. The ship moved through the dark water, and the stars continued their ancient work, and the wake spread out behind them white and quiet and endless, and two people who had survived impossible things sat together at the stern of a pirate ship in the middle of the ocean and simply, were present. Which was, it turned out, exactly enough. Part 5. What morning knows she came back the fourth night, and the fifth. It became, without discussion, a thing they did. The crew noticed, in the way crews notice things, sideways, without comment. Nami raised an eyebrow once and said nothing. Sanji looked thoughtful. Luffy, when told, said oh cool and went back to looking for food. Zoro said nothing, which was his version of approval. On the seventh night, Brook brought 2 cups. She looked at them. You don't drink. No, he said pleasantly. But I can hold a cup. And it seems like the right thing to do when someone brings you tea and you have nothing to offer in return. He paused. I filled it with seawater by accident. I hope that's acceptable. She laughed. A real one, short and unguarded, the kind that surprised her when it came out. He held the empty cup with great dignity and she drank her tea, and he played something, and she read 3 actual pages of her book, and they talked about everything and nothing, about a civilization she'd found in a text last week, about a song he'd written at sea in the 23rd year, about the particular color of the ocean at 4 in the morning, which was neither black nor blue but something between that had no proper name. It should have a name, she said, looking at it. Perhaps we should give it one. That seems presumptuous. We're pirates, he said. Presumption is something of a job requirement. She thought about it. Anteceding, she said finally. The color anteceding dawn. He considered. Tested it. Anteceding, he said. Yes. That's exactly right. She looked at the water, at the anteceding color of the pre-dawn sea, at the stars beginning their slow fade, at the wake behind the ship stretching back toward everything they'd left and everything they'd survived. Brook, she said. Robin-san. I'm glad you're here. She said it simply, without construction. On this ship. In this conversation. She paused. Alive, in whatever way you're alive. He was quiet for a moment. The violin rested across his knees, held loosely, like something he trusted not to fall. I am, he said, inexplicably, wonderfully glad to be here. He tilted his head toward her. I did not expect to be. After everything. But I am. She reached out and touched the neck of the violin, lightly, a question. He understood it, because he was very good at understanding the shapes of things. He raised the bow, and played something she hadn't heard before, something new, she understood, something being made right now in this moment for this moment, unhurried and unafraid, a song for 2 people who had come a very long way to be sitting here together at the edge of morning. She listened. The stars finished their work and the first gray light of dawn began at the horizon, tentative and honest, and the sea changed color from anteceding to something else, something that would need another name. They could name that one too. They had time.
Subscribe right now and join our Telegram community. Get the latest anime news, new theories, leaks, and the hottest discussions before anyone else. Link in the description.